What's going on, guys? PepperBelly here, and I'm bringing you something completely different this time. I was contacted by the co-founder of Dark Vale Games, and he wanted me to playtest the game and possibly make a video of it and showcase it and talk a little bit about it and kind of do a little bit of a review of this closed beta. So the beta is actually available for everyone right now. It's a closed beta, but you can sign up on their forums for a 14-day beta period that they are running it for everybody, or you can pre-order the game and you get exclusive in-game items, all kinds of fancy stuff, while you also have the beta for the duration up until its initial release, which is kind of good to me. I find that it's pretty neat. So he gave me a beta key, and he gave me all these cool features and then some insight, and I'm basically going to be talking a little bit about the game, going through it, and I've played about maybe an hour or so of it so far, and at first I was terrible because I wasn't expecting what this game was going to be. It's a it's a third-person fantasy RPG shooter. It's like a hybrid of a lot of things. It's really interesting. It's actually a great concept for a game. It's actually a lot of fun too once you start getting into it. So let's delve into it right now, shall we? First, we're going to take a look at these settings because that's just, what a lot of people always tend to think of and look at. So you can see there's quite a bit of options here. You can obviously choose your resolution. Me, I play on an HD TV, so obviously I'm always at 1280 by 720, which a lot of you guys are probably like, PC gamer at 720p. What the frick is the matter with you? And, well, it's a TV, HDMI, whatever. I haven't actually thought about getting it's a 32-inch. And playing a 1080p on a 32-inch, especially this TV, it doesn't really look nice. The games look fantastic, but the text and all that kind of stuff just doesn't fit properly to this TV, which is the problem and the drawback of using TVs for monitors. But either way, it still looks fantastic. So you can change your texture detail, you can change your anti-aliasing, which is mostly just in FXAA, if not only in FXAA. So I always like to max that out because my hardware is capable of actually outputting a pretty good performance ratio with FXAA, which is kind of the point of it because it literally has like zero impact on performance. Of course, you got your motion blur, dynamic lights, all that fancy stuff. I always turn VSync on. That's because I get a horrible screen tearing because my graphics card, which is a 560 Ti, is able to put out a lot of frames. And since my TV is an HDMI and it's also a 60Hz TV, it likes to screen tear the shit out of everything, and it just looks terrible. So I always have to turn on VSync, and I really don't even notice that much of a performance hit on some games. Some games you can't even tell. This one I haven't tried it out, or I haven't tried it with the VSync turned on yet, so I have no idea how the performance is going to be there. I also am recording with mirrorless action, so it should also kind of alter the performance a little bit. Now, this, I am kind of curious what this is. The indiness, I have no idea. You can change the percentage here from 100% to 5%. So I have no idea what that does. Haven't actually really paid attention to it. Probably going to figure it out sometime during the duration of this video. Who knows? So you go to the audio panel. You can see that, or the audio panel tab, and you can see, obviously your basics. You got your master volume, combat volume, events volume, the ambient, the music, the menu, all that fancy great stuff. Pretty standard, but it's there for you if you want it. Of course, you can also remap keys. This I absolutely love. I can't stand PC games that have a primary key and no secondary, and that's it. It's just the primary. That's all you got to go on, and it's completely frustrating because I like to also mount or bind multiple keys to the same feature or same ability, whatever it is. Perfect example is looking at my abilities. Now, these 8 abilities right here, they were originally mapped to F and V and all the keys kind of around WASD. I remapped them to the numbers just because I wanted to try that out, because you'll see in the game, it's a lot kind of like World of Warcraft, where the menu kind of looks the same and the HUD and the way the abilities are used kind of look fairly the same. And I actually kind of prefer to have it on the numbers just because it's a lot easier to reach up there and a lot easier to memorize which keys are which when it comes to using abilities. And what I was talking about having a secondary key is that I like to use my thumb mouse buttons on my Razer Mamba 2012 edition on top of other abilities just for a little bit easier, quicker access whenever I need it. And it just helps a lot more to be able to have more options. It just allows you to customize a lot more in depth, especially how you can actually have controller support. That's another huge plus to this game. It's because you got the mouse smoothing is on. Don't know why. I completely forgot about that. In fact, I didn't even really notice it in the game to begin with, and it's not really a game that precision is all that of a huge factor. You're not going out there trying to like snipe people in Counter-Strike style situations. It's just you're going out there shooting arrows at each other, casting stuff, or mailing each other, which is really, really fantastic. Me, I always lower the sensitivity because what I do with my Razer Mamba is I like to lower the sensitivity in the game to the lowest and then turn the DPI up. That way I'm having a lot more precision. And games like Hitman Absolution, where I'm playing the Sniper Challenge, I've really noticed the difference there when I turn the sensitivity all the way down and go all the way up to 6400 DPI. You can really see the difference of the smoothness of moving the mouse opposed to it being kind of janky and really weird the way you move the mouse around. So in the Games tab, you got the simple stuff. You got tutorial mode, which I highly suggest you do this because I was completely lost playing this game for the first time. I was going to say that it would be nice for them to actually have a tutorial mode in the game, like some kind of tutorial mission similar to what Chivalry Medieval Warfare has, which gives you just the basics, so it'll help you to understand what you're doing, but you still need to actually play the game to build up your skill and learn how every character and ability and all that crap handles differently from one another. So they have said they're going to include tutorial mode in the actual game. Next patch, actually, when they update it, they're going to have a tutorial for you to actually play and interact with, which is pretty great. And when that happens, it's going to be a Steam. They're going to convert to Steam because this was actually greenlit on Steam, which is a fantastic thing for this company. They're going to make probably a lot more sales now because Steam's one of the leading platforms in digital distribution. It's going to be a lot easier for them to get it out to the public when they're going to see it on the front page on release day. And a lot more people are going to be interested in it, which is a good thing. Of course, you got others, which is like kind of like gameplay quirks where you can change the camera shake on defense or attack. Haven't really tried that out, not really seeing the difference there. Anyway, so going back, you can see that there's also all these other other sections. You got your main menu, and you got your community, which is for guilds, and basically you can have a friends list where you can access your friends. Voila, pretty simple stuff there. Play is a little bit different. It allows you to browse your servers, create a group, so like a little party, kind of like what Xbox Live does, or what a lot of similar games do, where you create a party and you go into the game to play together. Or you can actually join a player specifically, and you can type in, you know, whatever the guy's names would be, and play with the guy specifically, however you want to go about doing that. You could type in, like, say there's some guy you know who's playing, like some famous YouTube personality, for example, goes on Twitter, says, I'm playing this game. You can literally just type his name in there, and it'll find the match that he's in with you, or that he's in, and it'll make you kind of just join in with him, which is kind of a cool, neat thing. That way you don't have to go looking for specific players. You can just type in their name, and if the game has enough slots, it'll slide you in. This is kind of the thing I just recently discovered right here, which is the kind of accounts area where you basically level up your character and do kind of weird things. So basically you gain experience as you're playing the game. And the way it goes about leveling up, as you can see, I leveled up mostly my Pathfinder, because that's the one class I'm actually able to kill people with, that and the Pyromancer, but I prefer the Pathfinder just because I like his abilities. But basically, the more XP you get, you just buy your levels with your XP as the tokens you gain. And you'll see it add up beneath here, level 2, level 3, and it keeps going up, and every single one you buy sticks to one specific class. So if I were to buy the Pathfinder one, that's it. Like, customization point goes right in that one. It's not separated by classes, is basically what I'm saying. So now we'll dive into some gameplay here. They only have the quick play option working properly right now, and you can just randomize it and it'll find you a game, stick you inside it. Which is currently only one person playing right now. For some strange reason. Whoops. Well, this obviously is not going to be interesting gameplay. It's a good thing I recorded 15 minutes the other day of gameplay, so I'll just end up using that. So I'll go over and switch to that gameplay, which is 15 minutes long. I'll cut it up to make it shorter, and I'll continue talking about the game then. So here we go, some gameplay. I'm playing as the Pyromancer, as you can see. Running around, and you can probably tell right away the game is absolutely fantastic looking. Graphically, it's just pleasant on the eyes. Some of these maps actually look just awesome. For an indie game, they have outdone themselves, and with the visuals with this game and just the general game mechanics themselves. Now, as you can see what I was talking about, it kind of looks World of Warcraft-ish because of the health system, the mana system, or the energy system. And the way you got the hotkeys kind of there on the bottom showing you your abilities and which keys are mapped to them. And it's more like a quick menu than it is actual abilities. And of course, it's not going to be the same as World of Warcraft, period. I hate to compare it to that, but I've played I put thousands of hours into World of Warcraft back in the day when I used to play it, before Blizzard completely butchered the series. But yeah, so I'm really familiar with that, and it kind of reminds me of that, but it's a lot more skill-intensive, team-oriented, and just more fun to me. Because, I mean, you're not actually running around right-clicking enemies and looting them or doing anything silly like that. It's basically just non-stop combat. You're always using your abilities. Shamans are there healing you, putting up bubbles, all kinds of fancy stuff to keep the action going. It never really actually ceases to stop. As you can see right there, there's a lot of cool stuff where you can like jump off walls and do like Matrix type shit and just go nuts on the enemy. And they also have their melee classes like the Warlord and the Assassin, which I am terrible with. I'm going to be completely honest. I can't melee whatsoever. There's a lot of abilities that the Assassin has that I just don't know. I'll cloak and try to like sneak up on someone and like stun them, and you know, kind of like the World of Warcraft turns, gank them and just start like DPS the hell out of them, man. And I don't know how to do it because I suck. And then of course I get bombarded by like 30 assassins who are like doing backflips and crazy shit, just destroying me, and I'm sitting there just like dumbfounded, taking it like a man, and then I die, and that's it. So, but I play pretty decent at ranged. I mean, I get a few kills in this game, and I actually end up switching to the Pathfinder midway through this, so you'll see. But mostly I'm just generally doing support right now. I'm not actually killing anyone, but I am definitely dropping their health. I'm using my abilities. I'm trying to light them on fire, trying to put down fire paths or fire lanes so they can't actually cross it. If they walk through it, it'll damage them. I'm also just shooting them with the primary fireball thing that you can see I'm doing to this guy up here, trying to just get as much damage on him as I can. So it's really an interesting format and a really interesting idea of how they've done this game, is that they actually made it so it's always fluid. The action's always moving. It never actually stops. It's always a consistent, constant fight, which is just great when you're playing games similar to this that have a click to attack style and it toggles the attack and is kind of a default where your character just always attacks, similar to that of World of Warcraft or Guild Wars or games similar to that. It kind of takes away from the actual playing part of it. For me, I remember I'd be able to just like set up a macro where I push a button, I go take a dump, and then come back and like I just killed the whole room of, you know what I mean? Like, I know it sounds kind of, you know, strange or whatever, but it's true. Like, I play World of Warcraft, I go into a dungeon by myself, I'm soloing soloing or doing whatever, and I just go in there and I'd right click an enemy, then hit the macro and just disappear, go do whatever, go eat like a sandwich, go to Burger King or something, or get McDonald's, and come back, and then, you know, it's done. The fight's over. Like, the fight would take maybe a really long time, but that macro alone will do what it needs to do to win. In this, you can't set up macros, you can't really do anything. It's actually more of you engaging actively with the opposition, with the other team. And you constantly have to have your wits about you because you're constantly being bombarded with abilities. Straying away from your teammates can cost you. When I see people, when I was playing as Assassin, that's the only way I was actually able to really kill anybody as an Assassin, is just to watch one of those guys that stray away from the group and then just jump on them and just start wailing on them and hopefully kill them in time. But like I said, I'm not really good at doing that because eventually his teammates would come and just start destroying me, whereas playing as ranged, I'm a lot more effective and I'm a lot more... yeah, just that. I'm a lot better at playing at range and being able to use the abilities. A Pathfinder I particularly enjoy playing because of his ability to blind the enemy, his ability to freeze them in spot in their place so they can't move. You can poison them, and you can also use a flurry of arrows, so you can fire off multiple arrows at once, which is great. When you're in a huge group of guys, you can sit there and just start wailing arrows, and every arrow will kind of disperse and go in its own direction and trail someone. They don't have it so it's exactly super accurate where you have to be, your crosshairs over top of the enemy when you're shooting an arrow. It does kind of have a little bit of a heat-seeking type thing where it'll just slowly close in on the target. As long as you're aiming in the general vicinity of the person you're shooting at, as long as your crosshairs like within range of them, as you can see I just got hit with one of those blinding arrows, it'll actually just kind of auto-lock and follow and track the target and hit them. But they don't overdo it so that you can just like start shooting up in the sky and just start wailing on abilities from like 100 meters away behind a rock and kill people. It's not going to work that way. You have to be actually actively engaging your target, which is great. It makes it a lot more challenging, makes it a lot more skill intensive, and it's a lot more fun. That's just the way I seem to find this game, really. I haven't actually played games like this. This is my first time. As you can see, I haven't really, if you look at my channel, I haven't covered a game like this ever, and I haven't really actually gotten into it, but this game has definitely sparked a new interest in me for this type of genre. I'm actually a lot more interested in games like this now. It reminds me of my World of Warcraft days, but without having to invest hundreds and hundreds of hours to do what it is you're already doing. Everyone starts off equal, everyone gets what they want. All the abilities are thrown at you at the same time, which can also be a little bit deterring at the same time, because when you have all these abilities thrown at you, you haven't really like had the time to practice and learn them, because you have them all to you available. If you jumped into World of Warcraft, you've never played that game before, and you jump in as a level 80 or level 90, whatever the hell it is now, and you have all these abilities, you see all these things all over your screen, what would you do? You would have no idea what the hell is going on. You wouldn't know what you're doing, how to play, what character to use, what abilities to use. You wouldn't know what they did. You would be sitting there confused and baffled, just completely overwhelmed with all these features, all these abilities, which this game somewhat does. Of course, you don't have like abilities like crazy. You don't have a spell book of all these crazy things you can do. The main abilities you have are what's right there in front of you, so you just have to like hold the Alt key and then just kind of hover over them, and they'll generally tell you what they do, give you brief insight, but trying to memorize them is a little bit more difficult than you would think, especially when you're just jumping into this game for the first time. You're going to be playing it, you're going to be a little bit lost because you're going to have all these abilities to choose, and you're going to have a whole bunch of players to try to memorize and get good at, and it kind of worries you and can kind of stress you out a little bit, because when you're going in, you're getting your ass kicked by these players that know what they're doing, and you can't figure out what's going on, you don't really know what you're doing, and it just makes you kind of angry. It can infuriate some people, but thankfully they're coming out with a tutorial mode. Hopefully it'll brief you on every single ability, everything that the players in the classes have to offer, and hopefully they'll cater to it, kind of what Chivalry Medieval Warfare did, where you have a specific tutorial for specific classes, and it'll let you be able to like a little bit to learn more in depth between each character, but hopefully not giving away too much, because I mean, tutorials are great for teaching you things, but not actually like telling you how to use them. Usually that's how you figure it out, how you combo abilities, how you use the abilities to your maximum effectiveness on the enemy player. That's actually all based on the player himself, which to me is great. Tutorials to me shouldn't show you that. It should just teach you the bare necessity, the plain, basic, raw bone structure of how you would actually use the player, so you know what his abilities are. For me, what I like to do is I always combo the same thing, where I blind the target. The target's kind of like disoriented, not knowing what's going on. Then I make him stationary by firing him and trapping him for a few seconds, so when he comes to, he can't move, and he's like, oh great, this is fantastic. And I start spamming him with poison arrows, and then just keep wailing on him until he dies. It's very, very effective, and if he's still alive and he's still moving about, then I can blind him again, rinse and repeat, kind of like what I did in World of Warcraft with my Rep Paladin, where I just would spam the same abilities over and over again, but you do a rinse and repeat method where you just keep the player in place. Assassins, on the other hand, when they come up on me and they sneak up on me and they hit me and they stun me for a few seconds, you start getting hit a lot of the times. A really good way to actually counter that playing as a Pathfinder is just to lay down a trap and bugger the hell out of there. Move as quickly as you can in the opposite direction. Hopefully he'll walk into it, it'll blow up in his face, and it just completely annihilates him, makes it a lot more difficult for him to actually really do anything. It doesn't actually kill him, it won't stop you from being dead necessarily. It'll give you a chance of getting away, which is just all you need, especially when you're around your teammates. They'll come in, they'll help boost you, they'll give you some health. Hopefully there's a shaman nearby, and it's all good from there. So I'm looking forward to playing this game more often. I can't wait till it's a release. I'm actually planning on picking it up and maybe diving a little bit more into it, give you guys some more insight, more videos, see where this game goes. I'm a lot more interested in it. I'm really glad that he contacted me and asked me to do this, because I'm really, really excited for this game. Something I haven't actually really gotten into in a long time, and now I'm really interested in this genre, so let's see where it goes from there. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to rate the video, comment the video, and subscribe if you want to see more in the future. Take care, guys.